Good morning, y'all. Spring is drunk. She's here early. She's hanging out and having a good time, and I am completely here for it. I'm hanging out in my short sleeves at my favorite cemetery, Cave Hill, here in Louisville, and this is a place where I like to come read, walk, meditate, get away for a few minutes, and have a few deep breaths when I need them. And I thought I'd come here and do a little filming today. So, what I'm reading for during the month of March is I'm reading in a readathon called Realmathon, which is hosted by Covers with Cassidy. Hop onto her channel, like, subscribe, do whatever, because her content is completely fantastic and you'll love it. Realmathon is hosted every year by her, and it's always a good time. It's one of my favorite readathons every single year, and I look forward to signing up for it. So the first book that I've read for Realmathon is, excuse me, Into the Drowning Deep by Mara Grant. You may know her better as Shannon McGuire, and if you are not familiar with her and either of her names, go check some of her books out. I have read several of them, and I do love her style of writing. Very kind of quirky, and I'm quirky, so it fits. This book is about as science fiction-y as I will get. I did give it 4 stars. And it earned every one of those. I want to tell you a little bit about the premise. 7 years ago, the Attergatta set off on a voyage to the Mariana Trench to film a mockumentary bringing to life ancient sea creatures of legend. It was lost at sea with all hands. Some have called it a hoax and others have called it a tragedy. Now a new crew has been assembled, but this time, they're not out to entertain. Some seek to validate their life's work. Some seek the greatest hunt of all. Some seek the truth. But for the ambitious young scientist, Victoria Stewart, this is a voyage to uncover the fate of the sister she lost. Whatever the truth may be, it will only be found below the waves. This book had me feeling the claustrophobia of being down in the sea and stuck in a submarine. I mean, I was feeling every single bit of this book. So, go check it out, read it. I think you might like it. The second book I read is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novak. I gave this book 4 stars. I thought it was really good because I related so much to Galadriel, the protagonist. Galadriel is my favorite fairy in the Lord of the Rings, so I was kind of drawn to her initially for that reason. But she and I are both introverted, a little bookish, kind of nerdy, and really just kind of have a hard time fitting in sometimes. So I related very much to her. But things get a little testy for her when she and the popular guy at school and his gang end up working together to protect the school. In fact, her sentiments for him can be summed up in the first line of the book, which is, I decided that Orion Lake needed to die after the second time he saved my life. So, if you are at all into dark academia, fantasy, school settings, this may be a good read for you. The third book I read is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. I loved this book. It took it a minute to get going for me. I thought it had a little bit of a slow start, but once it got going, it really drew me in. Here's the synopsis. All her life, Annie has played it nice and safe. After being unceremoniously dumped by her longtime boyfriend, she seeks a fresh start. Annie accepts a new teaching position and moves from Manhattan to a small village upstate. She's stunned by how perfect and picturesque the town is. The people are all friendly and warm. Her new apartment is dreamy, too, aside from the oddly persistent spider infestation. Then Annie meets Sophie, beautiful, charming, magnetic Sophie, who takes a special interest in Annie and wants to be her best friend. More importantly, she wants Annie to stop apologizing and start living for herself. That's how she lives. Annie can't help but gravitate toward the self-possessed Sophie and begins to spend more and more time with her, despite the fact that the rest of the townsfolk seem a little afraid of her. And, like, okay, there are some things. Sophie's appearance is uncanny and ageless. Her mansion is in the middle of the woods, and it feels a little bit unearthly. And she does seem to wield a certain power. But she couldn't be, could she? You'll have to read to find out. Book number 4, The Starless Sea. This book shook me. This is now among those top tier books of my life that I wish I could read for the first time again. To the point that I'm a little bit sad that I read it already because I love it so much. I don't know if that makes any sense, but regardless, that's kind of how I feel. This book was gorgeously written. It's so poetic and atmospheric, and I really felt like Erin Morgenstern did such a great job world building, and she just amazes me every time she writes a book. So, if you like, this is a portal fantasy. If you like portal fantasies, this might be right up your alley. Like I said, it's gorgeously written. And I read this book, this is the large print edition because that's all my library had, but I think it's like 499 pages. I read this almost in one sitting, except for just a few pages. So, anyway, go read this book. You're going to like it. Go over to Cassidy's page, sign up for Realmathon. Do it now. You won't regret it, and you'll thank me later. Bye, y'all.